Well, hello there. It's Kath Langman here, and welcome back to the Scale My Shopify Store podcast. Hands up if you are finding it challenging right now trying to get consistent traffic and sales in your online store, or finding it overwhelming trying to figure out how to get your digital marketing really dialed in and converting consistently. I know I've been speaking to a lot of e-commerce business owners recently, and both recent startups as well as seasoned veterans, and many of them are experiencing those kinds of things right now. And they're all asking me similar questions like, is it just them, or are customers still actually buying? Is it actually possible to get good revenue results right now? And the answer to that is definitely yes. We've got clients who right now are still growing and posting record months in terms of revenue, which is really, really exciting. But that isn't happening for people who are still doing things the way that they were even at the start of this year, let alone the same time last year. So let me give you an example. So just a couple of weeks ago, I created a new strategy for a new client that we just started working with, and I completely rebuilt all of their ads, and we overhauled all of their campaigns with a whole new structure and whole new strategy. And within 3 days, their revenue increased 293%. From their ads, and their ROAS, their return on ad spend, improved over 80%, which is really exciting. But here's the thing: the pace of change in the digital landscape has certainly accelerated this year, which is what's so very frustrating for so many of you guys, and it leads to feelings of overwhelm and feelings of fear and just that kind of total lack of confidence. And trust me, I totally get it. I still struggle with those feelings too from time to time. It's not like anything is 100% smooth sailing, no matter how much knowledge or experience or insight you might have. But fortunately, right now, I do have some strategies to pull me out of that kind of a downward emotional spiral a whole lot faster, and to get my head back in the game with, strategies to grow. Anyway, today on the show, I really want to share with you the approach to digital marketing that we're finding is necessary to get really great results right now. And that's what is called an omni-channel approach. Now, I don't typically love using jargony words, and I do feel like omnichannel is a little bit like that, but don't worry, I will explain it all, and I will help you to help it make sense for you, if I can get my words out straight today. And by the end of this episode, you will hopefully have a really solid understanding of what this means and how you would approach it in your own business, as well as a little bit more clarity and confidence around your own performance metrics and how you can influence them as well. Sound good? Let's dive in. So first of all, what is omnichannel marketing anyway? So omnichannel marketing is the seamless integration of branding, messaging, and different touch points across all of your marketing channels as consumers move down the sales funnel, enabling a more impactful customer experience. So omnichannel marketing takes a really consumer-centric view of marketing. Consumers, our customers, they can now interact with brands on such a wide variety of channels, from multiple different social media channels to live chat to email and SMS to your website, and, plenty of other offline and in-person channels as well. And so an omni-channel approach ensures that the customer has a really positive, consistent experience on each channel. And, there's a few key elements to this. First of all, consistent, identifiable brand tone and vision, personalized messaging based on specific interests, and content that is informed by past interactions and, the current stage of the buyer's journey. So an identifiable brand really simplifies brand recognition, while personalization based on interests and shopping history and the actions that a customer is taking online makes consumers much more likely to interact with your branded content across multiple channels. So something that I just said might jump out at you a little bit, and that's the multi-channel approach. So you might have heard of multi-channel marketing. And so what is the difference between multi-channel versus omni-channel when it comes to your marketing? So omnichannel and multi-channel are both concepts based on the idea of engaging consumers across multiple marketing platforms, but they're not quite the same thing. So multi-channel marketing looks at the specific channel and how the transaction will be completed there, while omni-channel marketing takes into account that the customer journey may span multiple channels, and it looks at how to create the best experience as consumers move between channels. So each interaction is a touch point on a path leading to a conversion. And so let me explain this in a little bit more detail. Multi-channel marketing is much simpler in its intent compared to omni-channel. And so multi-channel marketing is about just distributing content and ads across various channels. But this kind of a strategy makes, it is designed to make an organization available to consumers via these different channels, whether it's your various online ad channels or social media, or maybe print, in-store, TV, whatever. The idea is that the consumer, your customer, can choose where they want to interact with the brand. However, the content and the engagements within these various channels are often quite siloed. So what this means is the marketing content and messaging isn't necessarily congruent across channels using a multi-channel approach, whereas your omni-channel approach is more reflective of the overall customer experience. So omni-channel marketing is also making your brand accessible across a variety of different channels, online and offline. However, it goes a little bit of a step further to really ensure that you have an integrated, seamless customer experience across each one. As consumers move across different devices and online and offline platforms, the content feels congruent and seamless, and the messages, not messengers, the messages are really informed by prior encounters. So this is obviously where we're using tracking mechanisms to help deliver the right content to the right customer at the right stage of their customer journey. So an omni-channel approach really enables organizations to truly take that customer-centric approach that keeps, a really comprehensive customer journey front and center. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of an example here. So one of our recent clients came to us at the start of the year, having experienced a fairly rapid decline in revenue from their e-commerce store that they just didn't feel was entirely down to economic conditions. And so we designed a new strategy for them for their paid ad channels that saw them achieve some pretty quick and excitingly positive results. So it was a 55% increase in revenue with a 24% drop in cost per purchase and a 32% increase in return on ad spend, ROAS, all in 30 days from campaigns going live. Now that sounds pretty amazing, and they are great results, right? But the frustrating part of this was that we were only working on their paid ads. So they had totally different teams and people responsible for executing strategies in terms of content and promotions and overall messaging for all of their other channels. And we weren't really working together. We weren't really communicating with each other. We weren't in charge of it, right? So we were only talking with the client and not these other teams. And, in reality, we were leaving a whole lot of money on the table by taking that kind of a siloed approach. And I want you to compare that to one of our other clients who we have been working with this year as well. And in that time, we've worked across all their channels, rolling out a really comprehensive strategy that is congruent across website, email, and all their organic and paid channels. And in 4 months, we were able to completely transform this brand by generating a 620% increase in revenue, which is really, really cool, right? Now, if you'd like to read those case studies and see screenshots of all the details, etc., of both those case studies, then I'll include the links to both of them on this podcast episode show notes page, so you can go and check them out. Now, why did the second omni-channel approach outperform the first example? So while implementing an omni-channel approach, it's far from simple. When it's done properly, it just provides such a host of benefits that, it's like the sum of the total is more than the individual parts, or however that saying goes. So these days, consumers are really accustomed to being bombarded with messages from various different brands in all over the place, right? And as a result, consumers have become increasingly selective of which brands that they choose to engage with. Creating an omni-channel customer engagement kind of strategy can really act as a brand differentiator right now, and it brings several benefits to your marketing. First of all, you're going to provide a much better user experience for your customers. So since omni-channel marketing focuses on the individual experience across devices instead of just one channel, the customer experience is a whole lot better. And by focusing on the customer instead of the platform, brands can drive a lot more sales and better retention rates. So your conversion rates are going to go up, basically. Secondly, a cohesive brand strategy and identity. You get to achieve that. So creating a really seamless strategy across channels means building an easily identifiable brand image and tone. And brands should base this image on core audience needs, your audience needs and values. And by focusing that, the overall experience and working within your brand guidelines as well to target each channel, you'll end up having a much more comprehensive brand strategy that's going to translate into increased loyalty and also just much more targeted messaging as well. And then thirdly, you're going to enjoy increased revenue. So an omni-channel approach encourages customers to engage with a brand across multiple touch points and channels. And these, increased diverse engagements at each stage of the buyer's journey is going to help you increase revenue, as research is showing that customers that engage with multiple touch points tend to be about 30% more valuable to your business because they spend more per transaction, and they're also more likely to turn into repeat buyers. So the more targeted messaging that you can achieve in an omni-channel approach, it helps you to build loyalty, making it a lot more likely that a customer will they'll become a repeat buyer. They'll purchase from your brand again. And repeat customers on average contribute to 40% of revenue, despite being a much smaller portion of your customer base, usually, not always, but usually, especially in the early days of your business. So you end up increasing revenue and also increasing profitability by implementing this kind of an approach. And anecdotally, from my own experience as a consumer, I believe that you're also more likely to increase your conversion rate and ability to acquire new customers as well. And I want to give you an example here. So most of you probably know that I became a puppy parent a bit less than a year ago. So my puppy, Lenny, well, he is one now, but he's still totally a puppy. He's half border collie and half standard poodle, and he's really big now. So when he's stretched to his full length, like if he's laying on a bed and stretched right out, he's almost as long as my son, who's 6'2". So he's not a small puppy. And he's also very strong, which can be quite hard to control when he's on the leash, considering, he's got the energy and the need for activity like a working dog breed, and then kind of the craziness and the separation anxiety and the constant need for attention and company of a poodle. So anyway, you can imagine what that's like. So a while ago, I started researching no-pull leashes. Now, I should have been a slam dunk customer here, but here's the gist of the customer journey that I went on. Firstly, I started Googling for information about how to stop your dog pulling on the leash. And I started reading lots of articles and watching lots of YouTube videos. And then I started being retargeted by a bunch of Meta ads and also Google Shopping ads, but the Meta ads, a little bit more top of funnel kind of cold audience related messaging, promoting everything from online courses and books, as well as products like no pull harnesses and bungee leashes. So I clicked through to a lot of websites to have a look at a lot of different options, but in the end, there was really only one brand that did a really good job with their marketing content and the strategy overall, really. So most of the brands had pretty decent top of funnel ad content. Usually, it was some kind of a problem-oriented video. But then they took me to a fairly bog standard product page, and typically just were using a discount incentive as their only conversion mechanism. And then, I'd go onto Google and I'd just see the plain shopping ads at the top. So there was one brand though that I really felt like they did a good job and seemed to have a much better grasp of their customers' journey. So starting from that initial process of information gathering as I Googled the problem, then showcasing their product, of course, but then on their product page and in their emails and all their other marketing content they were retargeting me with, and there was plenty, they took me further down the buyer journey. So they were making really excellent use of things like demo videos, before and after videos, detailed FAQs. They showed a lot of customer testimonials, and with those testimonials, they included images of all the customer dogs as well. So you could see how the product fit on various different dog breeds and, dogs of different sizes and shapes as well. Not to mention, of course, read all of the comments from those different customers. They were, and some of them were really quite detailed about, describing their dog's disposition and all of that kind of stuff, which was super helpful. And they made a lot of use of various conversion and risk reversal techniques as well. So things like, an incentive to convert, and then a great returns policy and live chat support and a bunch of other things. And it didn't matter what channel I interacted with them on. I was seeing the next relevant message that made sense for where I was at in my buyer journey. And so, they did, and at the end of the day, I've got to tell you, they did not have the best looking website or the best looking branding in the world. I mean, they still came across as professional looking, but none of that stuff was perfect by any stretch. Yet they were really able to give me the impression that they really understood my needs better than any other option on the market, and that, their product would suit me better than any other option on the market as well. So of course, that's the one I bought. So hopefully by now you get the picture about how impactful an omni-channel approach can be. You're probably wondering though, how do you get started with this? And I will say that unfortunately, shifting to an omni-channel marketing strategy isn't as simple as identifying just a few other channels for your customers to interact with your brand and consume your content. To truly adopt an omni-channel approach, you need to make significant changes to the way you do business. Otherwise, you'll be spending, on a simple multi-channel strategy that just won't be capable of bringing the sort of results that you want, right? Or that I've been talking about. Now, yes, it will definitely be a big effort, but it will also be one that will lead to tremendous growth for your business. So first of all, you need to accept, this is the first step, you need to accept that the single touch marketing strategy just doesn't exist anymore. And I've been bleating on about this for a long time, but it is, well and truly past the point of no return. I know it is tempting to fall into the trap of thinking you can just get some ads running and then you won't have to think about your marketing anymore, or that you can just get some ads up on one channel and get that really cranking in terms of amazing conversion results before you even think about adding in any of your other channels, or even that you can just outsource to somebody else and never think about it again. Unfortunately, none of these things is the right way to go about it. Now, you might not be the one who's thinking like that, but I see plenty who do, and I do see it all the time, and like, having said that, I really do understand it. I mean, it would be really nice to be able to just tick something off your business to-do list and never ever have to look at it again, right? I get it. But this just isn't how things work in the digital world, I'm afraid to say. So first of all, you need to treat your website and all of your marketing and advertising as a constant work in progress. And, you should always be monitoring your conversion rates and other performance metrics and finding ways to optimize them and improve them. Or have someone who's going to do that for you, right? And talk to you about these things. So don't just assume that whatever your website looks like right now, or, the last time you worked on it, or, you can just do one lot of content at the start of the year and that's going to be good enough for everything. It'll be good enough to receive all your paid traffic and convert that profitably into sales forevermore. Secondly, don't assume that customers will come to you via just a single channel. Like, this is still a common pitfall right now. Brand owners want to track sales and return on ad spend from individual channels, whether that be Google ads or Facebook ads or whatever. But the fact is that a single touchpoint brand just does not exist anymore, or rather a customer who's going to convert from a single touchpoint. It just doesn't exist anymore. Customers are interacting with us via multiple channels now, and we really need to approach marketing accordingly, knowing that each platform will influence and enhance the results of others. And it's a system, right? And the sum of the results across multiple channels will be greater than an individual channel on its own. So for example, when you run Facebook ads or Meta ads, you will always see your paid and organic Google traffic and sales go up, both, organic search and paid search or paid Google shopping. And when you send marketing emails, you will always see conversions go up on paid channels as well, particularly Facebook or /Meta ads. And it just makes logical sense as a consumer. You will look at stuff on your phone and then come back later and Google for the thing, right? But as a business owner, you need to avoid the mistake of thinking that only Google ads will work and to cut out the rest just because that's what your Google Analytics says. Your brand and your rate of growth will suffer as a result if you do that. Next, you must use customer data to your advantage. The data you collect from all your customer interactions is an absolute goldmine, but of course, only if you know how to use it to your advantage. To start, audit your entire customer experience. Go through the purchase process from start to finish and try interacting with all of your available channels. Do it yourself or sit and watch somebody else who doesn't know your brand do it and, see what happens, see what they do. And additionally, if you know me, if you've listened to me for very long, you won't be surprised that I might suggest doing a customer survey to gather some insights as well from your customers. And that way, you get to make some improvements to all of your marketing and website, etc., based on their actual experiences and opinions, right? By doing all of this, not only will you gain insights into what your business can improve on, but you'll also get a much fuller appreciation of how to use your data at each step of the purchase process. Once you have a better appreciation for your customer journey, you can use your data to craft messages that aren't just relevant to where the recipient is on their customer journey, but also suited to their personal preferences. So depending on the platform that you're using, you could also use your data to develop automation flows, email flows or SMS flows to reach your customers with the right messages at exactly the right time and with, virtually no effort at all. I mean, obviously you've got to set it up, of course, but not much effort after that. And of course, I'm sure it'll surprise no one as well who's listened to me or read much of my content to know that my favorite platform to gather all of this kind of customer data and to use it in your automations is Klaviyo, because it is purpose-built for the e-commerce business model. You can use Klaviyo as your constant source of truth. So Klaviyo allows you to collect your own data on your customers. So this is called what we would call zero-party data, because these contacts are giving you permission to record information about them. It allows you to track their browsing and shopping behavior on your website. And this, of course, enables you to not just send them relevant messages on email and SMS, but it also allows you to build really high quality audiences in your Facebook ad account and your Google ad account. And so therefore you get to show your ads to the right people and increase your return on ad spend that way as well. So Klaviyo literally acts as the glue between all the other platforms. Sure, we can track any user behavior our audience takes when they remain on the social media or ad platforms. But once they leave those platforms, we can't track them accurately unless we entice them to subscribe to our own database and can record their behavior ourselves with their permission. Of course, we can track some of that data, right? It's not like it's a completely lost cause. But when you have the Klaviyo kind of tracking capabilities and analytical capabilities included, the kind of data and the value of that data is just so much bigger, so much more detailed. So just on its own, there really is enormous value in a Klaviyo database because, it gives you that sort of data and information about your buyers that you just really can't get anywhere else. But also that just brings me to a critical component of an omni-channel approach versus a multi-channel approach, which is to target your messages for better personalization. So this can't be stressed enough that the core of a successful omni-channel strategy is personalization. And part of personalization is knowing exactly who your customer is and how best to communicate with them. And to achieve that, you need to segment your audiences into different interest groups or different, segments based on, their purchase preferences or other sorts of actions. And this is going to make it much easier for you to tailor your messages to, encourage your audience to take the actions you really want them to take. So depending on how capable your tool is when it comes to segmentation, and I am yet to see anything that is as accessible to the masses of e-commerce businesses compared to Klaviyo in terms of, what it can do. You should be able to target your audiences in a really minute amount of detail. You can create things like dynamic segments that change according to where your customers are in the customer journey. So, for example, you can pinpoint those who haven't purchased from you in the past 30 days and reach out to them with a relevant message accompanied by a great offer. Or you could, have a segment of people who've bought from one product category but not another in the last, however many days or months, and then try and sell them to another one, or upsell to multiples, right? Like there's so many different ways that you can slice and dice this. And then, given the data that you have on their preferred communication platforms, you'll be able to reach out on precisely the right channel that's most likely to prompt a purchase. And so this is also where Klaviyo can be so effective. The data that you collect about your profiles and the way that you can segment your database and the predictive and analytics as well is going to help you personalize all your marketing and ad content across channels, not only improving the effectiveness of, and profitability of your paid advertising on Meta and Google platforms, which is super enticing on its own, but, literally improving your overall conversion rates, revenue, and customer lifetime value as well. So when you think about spending money on paid advertising and how much return on investment you need in order to make the advertising worthwhile and profitable for your business, you want to make sure that you give yourself the best chance of increasing that ROI. So this is where getting people to subscribe to your list, to your Klaviyo database, really helps, because it absolutely increases your conversion rate from website visitor to buyer, as well as increasing your repeat purchase rate as well. And then finally, with an omni-channel approach, you need to test, measure, rinse, and repeat. Omni-channel marketing works, but it will work differently for different businesses. No matter what, you need to build a strategy that's suited not just to your store, but more importantly to your customers. So start with what you already know about your business and your audience, and use that to guide you through each of your processes. As you collect more data, you'll want to keep analyzing it, and doing that will help you actively improve your business and consequently your sales revenue. And you want to be testing often and testing as much as you can, so you can experiment with things like different subject lines, different sender names, different types of content, messaging hooks, angles, different formats of content, different offers. There's so many different things that you can test. You can test your segments and determine, whether you can segment in even more detail for even better targeting and outcomes. You can also test your channels to learn how best to use each one. And over time, the insights that you gain from the data you collect and analyze is going to lead you to ultimately, the right formula that's, it's like the Goldilocks formula, right? It's the one that's just right for your business and, to reach your customer base with your marketing. So is implementing an omni-channel marketing strategy worth it? In short, yes. It is only through an omni-channel marketing approach that you can offer your customers a consistent experience across all touch points and channels. If you do this successfully, you don't just boost customer engagement, but also your customers' affinity for your brand. And these days, customers do want to buy from brands that they feel in alignment with, whether that's because of shared values or a particular kind of brand personality or for some other reason. Customers will love you more for always giving them great experiences that are relevant to whatever they choose, whatever channel they choose to communicate with, right? Or interact with your brand. And in the end, all that leads to better sales. Now, it might sound, overwhelming to maintain a good presence on multiple channels and to get them all working in unison to provide that kind of a seamless experience to each of your customers. However, all it really takes is the help of the right tools like Klaviyo, as well as the right content strategies. So the bottom line is you'll enjoy much higher conversion rates, higher average order value, increased frequency, and number of repeat purchases, all leading to an increase in revenue and profits. And I don't think I know a single business right now that couldn't do with more of all of those things. Now, hopefully you're keen to get this going in your own business so that you can enjoy more of those positive improvements for yourself. And to do that, you really have three choices. You can figure it out alone via trial and error. You can learn from someone else who already knows how to do it, or you can outsource it. And each of those is a valid choice, and they're each going to take varying lengths of time. Of course, if you would like some help to speed up that process of learning and implementing and getting results faster, then please reach out to me because I would love to help you with that. This is what I do, my team does, and we love to do every single day. And of course, we would love to help replicate some of these awesome results I've been sharing with you in your business as well. So if you are an ambitious brand owner who is really ready to get some help to scale your online store faster, and you want the help of an e-commerce marketing expert that guarantees your results, then step one is for you to book a free strategy session with us. And you can do that by heading to productpreneurmarketing.com/let's-talk. And I will, of course, include the link to that in the podcast show notes page as well, because I know that's not an easy URL to remember. But that is it for today's episode, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, I would be forever grateful if you'd share it with one or two of your business besties, and especially if they're looking to grow their brand or their e-commerce store this year. So it's super easy to share. All you do is click on the icon next to the podcast on whichever platform you listen to it, copy the share link, and then message it to your friends. But for now, have a fabulous day and fabulous rest of the week, and I will be back on the show with you again next week. Bye for now.